I want to bring this up. This is something that I've shared in different settings with different groups, and so it's relevant to share here. And it really addresses how long do we need to talk about this. Many people would equate the D-Day, the day that they discovered the spouse's betrayal, with 9/11, which was a national crisis. Now, wherever you may have been in the country, some of you are spread out all over. It impacted us all in a tremendous way, okay? I was in New Jersey, just over the water. Like literally, I was standing across the water and I could see the buildings burning. You understand? Some of you, Texas, California, the Midwest, South Dakota, wherever you're from, but in some way you were impacted by what took place. When you think about 9/11, it happened in hours, but we talked about it for years. Remember that first year? For whatever reason, I tuned into every radio show at the time. I was listening to Sean Hannity. I was listening to Rush Limbaugh. I was listening to CNN, MSNBC. I was listening to both sides of the political aisle, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives. I was listening to everybody. I was tuned in. I was fixated. I was preoccupied. I was consumed. I was soaked and saturated in all things concerning 9/11 and who did it and why they did it and who were the potential suspects and what countries were involved. And the nation was every single day consumed. We were on all types of alerts, red alert, orange alert, green, everything. And then we hit the first year anniversary and the level of pain, people having to remember. If we remember, every news show, documentaries came out, special reports. None of us expected it. It was truly a national tragedy. I would say probably after the second to maybe third year, the pain attached to that day went away. Maybe that's strong language. Went away strong, significantly diminished. Does that make sense? So likewise with D-Day, you got to look at it the same way. This is what your wife, or for some of you who've experienced it yourself, have dealt with. And I think it's important to realize what your spouse is going through as it relates to this. And so to tell her, if you are, why do we need to talk about this? What is it to talk about? This happened, you found out 2 months ago. How much longer are we going to have to continue to deal with this? Is unfair. It's unfair. And it just means that you don't have a working knowledge of what trauma is and how trauma impacts the person who has been victimized. And so all of you here, and I've made this book recommendation several times until I come up with my own, is Not Just Friends by Shirley Glass, because I think it's one of the most comprehensive books ever written on infidelity and the recovery process. And you need to have a true understanding of her pain, her journey, her process, and how, when you show up the right way, how it will help her heal. You choosing any of it, and I'm saying you, the collective you, if you just choose to say, well, I don't want to focus on that, let's just make things better, you're making things worse. You're making things worse by doing that. If all you want to do is focus on the good stuff, the fun stuff, the light stuff, the pleasant stuff, but not want to deal with the dark stuff, the bad stuff, the hurtful stuff, the painful stuff, you're only prolonging your own recovery process. Like, are you scared of the dark? You're probably scared of the dark, aren't you? When it's time to go into the doctor's office and to get a checkup, you're that guy. You shake, you quake, your knees buckle. When it's time to get a needle stuck in your finger, to prick your finger, to grab a blood sample, you're in pain, aren't you? The anticipation of the pain causes you to emotionally react. You're that guy. I'm not talking about you specifically, the collective you. Are you that guy? Are you the lion who has no courage that we found in The Wizard of Oz? Scared of his own shadow. Scared to make a decision. Scared of the unknown. Like, you can't be that guy. That's not what an irreplaceable husband is. If a fire broke out, could I rely on you? Could I? Would you be the hero helping other people out of the building? Or would you be the first one out, thinking about yourself and how they need to catch up? Who are you? Who are you? If you're not willing to endure what you have put your spouse through, are you truly equipped? Can you call yourself an irreplaceable husband when you're proving to be undeniable? Or I'm sorry, you're not proving yourself to be undeniable. Does that make sense? So it's going to require a strong mind and a tender heart. Dr. Martin Luther King wrote a speech years ago where he talks about that, the strong mind and the tender heart. Unfortunately, most men have a soft mind and a hardened heart. This is why he said, and I repeat this as often as I can, a nation or civilization that continues to produce soft-minded men purchases its own spiritual death on an installment plan. You have to be tough. You have to be ready for this. This is the hardest fight that you've ever had to fight. Are you equipped? Or do you just say what sounds good? You're an irreplaceable husband. If you're truly going to be irreplaceable, then fully embrace everything we're suggesting. And a part of embracing this process is enduring with your spouse. Is enduring. But if you're scared of pain, if you're scared of difficult conversations, if you can't stomach it, then you have to reevaluate, do you really want this? Because wanting this comes with that. Period. And so it's time to toughen up. It's time to strengthen your mind. It's time to get on board and be willing to do whatever it takes to get what it is that you say that you want, if this is what you really want. So if your wife has questions every single day because her talking this out helps her heal, then why not do it? See, maybe you need to understand what the ultimate goal here is. If you understood the goal of these questions and conversations, maybe it would help you fully embrace it. The goal is her healing. Do you want her to remain broken? Do you want her just to suppress it, to tuck it in, to push it down, to act as if it never happened? Well, if you do that, think about this. Think about a person who eats a meal that then turns into waste, but there's no outlet for it. They can't urinate, they can't defecate, they can't sweat it out of their pores. There's no ability to get out of them what's in them. Well, sickness will take over, disease will set in, and they will ultimately die. There has to be a releasing process, right? The waste, the toxicity has to come out. Now, these emotions that you may be thinking, hey, just stop talking about it. Tuck it in, push it in. Let's not address it. Just deal with it, suppress it. Well, it's going to create emotional toxicity. And it's going to have an impact on you, on her, on the marriage, and eventually things will begin to die. If you don't want that to happen, put on your armor. Not to fight with your spouse. Put on your spiritual armor and engage. And when you do, She will heal. Your relationship will strengthen. And now these things will be past you. Hope that makes sense. I want others to weigh in. I only here for one. If you've been the offender, if you've been the offended, weigh in. This is a great discussion. This is what we need this group for, to talk through these things. So I can see who saw the messages. I want you to weigh in.